Hi, we're at NAMM 2015. We're at the Elektron booth here, and I've got Overbridge to show, so let's have a look at it. I've got the analog keys and the rhythm hooked up to the computer only via USB cables, so there is no audio output, it's just USB streaming I'm using right now. So let's run the Overbridge control panel. I can see that the analog keys is connected, it's got a green button here, and the audio is being fed through. And when I change the tracks, I can see that it's picking up different tracks. And the rhythm is also connected, and you can see that it's sending audio out. But we can't hear anything, so I need to run a DAW, and I prefer using Ableton right now. So now we got it running, and to get the audio from analog keys, I would need to drag and drop the analog keys VSCI plugin. It's simple as that. And now I can hear the sound now. Now, I don't have to go into my sound card settings and change any type of driver or anything. You can use any type of sound card that you have when using an Overbridge and Elektron analog machines. So this will basically work with any type of setup. You don't have to change your setup. All you need to do is drag and drop the VSCI plugin like I did. Now, next thing that I could show you is we could multi-track the audio from analog keys. So I've created 4 audio tracks here, and now let's assign individual tracks to these. That's track number 3 and then 4, and that's how I would set up in Ableton using Overbridge. The trick here is that many users can have different type of setups, because at the control panel you can decide which inputs and which outputs that you want to stream or not stream to preserve the USB bandwidth. Those details will be revealed later on, but now let's focus on the features. So you can hear and see that it's been on another track, and here we go, another track, and there you go. Now, what I really like is that I can run any type of VST editing these audios. There's a bunch of VSTs out there, plugins, you guys know, loads of effects and stuff. But just by looking at the default that Ableton offers, there is this really nice guitar amp simulator. And just with that, I can get some cool stuff going, I think. Let's see, and then you have all these oscillator settings as well. Cool. So there's a lot of potential there to mess around and come up with ideas and take your Elektron analog units further. So now let's delete that and concentrate on the sync factor. Many of our users have been asking for oh, I'm using a DAW and I cannot sync my boxes and I have trouble, and so on, so on. So we are not using MIDI sync, we're using a custom technology to have the sync with a DAW and the Elektron boxes. So here, the Overbridge plugin will handle all those settings. Again, I don't need to go into preferences and all these MIDI settings to activate MIDI settings. Everything is done automatically. We're working really hard for everything to be as smooth as possible. So now when I press play on Ableton, I can see that the sequence in analog keys is being played in sync. Now, to take this, to hear how good the sync is, I can actually load up a clip, like a basic beat, and see how it's working in sync with Ableton. Oh, I need to press play on this one. Yeah, so that's pretty good. And note that what I'm showing you right now is a work in progress. So when we are ready to release this, the sync will be better. But right now it is good as it can be, basically. So next thing that I can show you is I can transmit any type of audio into analog keys to process. Now let's pick up another track here, another pattern, sorry, clear track number 1. So now that beat that I played, the audio, I'm going to send it into analog keys, track number 1. So I do that by selecting audio 2 and selecting analog keys, and then track number 1. It's pretty straightforward. I'll mute the rest of the things and then press play. Now this audio should be getting fed into the analog keys track input. I can't hear anything because I need to trigger the track. Now I can hear it, but I'll put the oscillator down, and now we can hear the beat coming in a bit more, and raise the volume, pump it up here a bit. Here we go. I've got the release to maximum, so when I let it go, it's still playing. Now I can use the analog overdrive and the analog filters and LFOs and other tricks that the analog keys and 4 offers. And let's go to the LFO, for example, and assign it to the filter and maybe make it really fast. So you get the idea that you can process any type of audio through your Elektron analog boxes. That opens a lot of possibility in the DAW world and working with Elektron units. Now the next thing that I would like to show is using multiple devices with Overbridge. So let's go back to the pattern that we had, reload the kit, and instead of the beat that we loaded in, I'm going to use the analog rhythm here. That's plugged in exactly the same way that analog keys is plugged in. So I go to the plugins and select the rhythm plugin and drag and drop into another track. So now I have 2 instances of the Overbridge plugin running. Here is the analog keys, and here is the analog rhythm. I can of course multi-track the analog rhythm also, but you get the idea. You can do that yourself as we did with the analog keys, just exactly. But the key feature here is that when I press play on Ableton now, both machines will be in sync and streaming audio. And of course, I can apply different effects. Let's mess around with that and see what happens. Maybe it's getting too loud a bit, but in the noisy environment of NAMM, I can't really hear what I'm doing, but it will be a good demonstration for the guys watching. You get the idea that you can mix and match and process your analog signals from your Elektron analog boxes in a DAW, which the DAW that we're supporting is VSTI and AU right now, and in the future we may be able to support other platforms, but right now for launch we're focusing on that 2 platforms. Of course it's PC and Mac. Now what else I can tell you is that all these features that you have on the Elektron analog keys and the rhythm and the Elektron analog series basically can be controlled via your DAW with MIDI automation. And of course you can send MIDI sequences out from the external MIDI keyboard into keys or the rhythm. So you can actually use your DAW MIDI sequencer and use your Elektron analog boxes just as sound modules if you prefer to. So Overbridge opens a lot of workflow possibilities. And to make use of these workflow possibilities, we're working on a user interface for the Overbridge. And this is how it will look like. This is the analog keys work in progress Overbridge editor. So you'll be able to edit your filters, effect sends, and all that stuff that you have in the analog keys. What's nice is that when I change my audio on the analog keys, be it the LFO or the filter, I will see the graphics changing on the screen. So this is a great way to have another input of what the sound that you're making from a big screen. And finally, before I say goodbye, one other neat feature is how you can recall back your patterns that you have made for the project. Now, we think we will be doing a system called Total Recall, where you can recall your patterns and your sounds that you've made in your DAW. Let's say in a project I made like a few patterns on the keys, I don't know, 20 patterns on the rhythm, and when I load that project back, all the relevant files will be loaded onto the machines. So when using Overbridge and Elektron analog units, I don't need to really bother about saving the things on it. I just need to save the project and off I go. Well, that's it for now. See you next time at Music Messe with more interesting news. Thank you very much for Nova Music for doing this. And yeah, enjoy. Thanks. Bye.